So this is Farah from Majibookshelf, and today, as you can read from the title above, I'm going to show you guys the books I read, the best books that I read in 2012. So these books don't actually have to be published in 2012, they're just the books that I read in 2012. So I have a total of 8, these are just my favorites. There are no particular order, and I guess that's it. So I'm going to start with the first book, and it's Slated by Teri. This is the first book in a trilogy, I think, and the next book is Fracture, and it's coming out like pretty soon. But this book was amazing. I'm speechless. I loved it. It was such a great dystopian. I really devoured it in like really fast. And if you haven't read it, like I really recommend it, and you'll probably see my review like pretty soon up on the blog. So the next book is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I don't know why I took so long to get my hands on this book, but I found it in the library and I decided to borrow it last time, and I read it and oh my god, it was amazing. I was very hesitant to start a book about cyborgs, and I thought it was like going to be boring, but it's going to talk about like technicians and robots and metal and all that stuff that I'm not really interested in. So I really thought it was going to be like focused on that stuff, but really it has nothing to do with it. It was breathtaking and it was awesome, and I loved the world building. It was so magical, and I really cannot wait to read the second book. It's called Scarlet, though it talks about like Red Riding Hood, I think. I'm not sure if like the characters are still going to be there, but there's going to be like another set of new characters. But anyways, I'm like so psyched up to read that one. The next book I have is Burn for Burn by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. I'm so sorry, I can never pronounce her name. But anyways, this book was fantastic. I got an arc of this and I like finished it in one sitting, and I never do that. It was so addicting, and the really interesting part is that at first it was like all contemporary, all about 3 girls who wanted to get like revenge on other people because of their childhood or whatever they did to them. But it was like so awesome, and then towards like the ending there was like this paranormal twist to it as well. It was kind of disappointing because of that, but really it was still awesome. I still loved it, and it is one of my favorites of 2012. The next book is Never Enough by Denise Jaden. This still remains one of my favorites, my favorite contemporary novels. It is such an amazing book, and again, as well as this one, I had it as an arc, and I read it, and I kept on reading, and it was so addicting. Like, the flow of the book was fantastic, the characters were amazing, and like, you probably know that I'm one of those people who like to read about realistic situations, about like people who are, have problems in themselves or whatever, something like that. But anyways, it was really good, and I really do recommend it to all the teenagers out there. And it was just one of those really peaceful, awesome books that I actually wish there was a sequel to, but I will definitely look out for other books by Denise Jaden. The next book that I read, which was also an arc, and it's actually the first time I read a book by this author, and it's Keep Holding On by Susane Colasanti. This book is a pretty short, 200 pages book, but gosh, despite its cover, you'd think it's like a cheesy romantic novel, but really it is so not. It's so much more. It really it has a place inside my heart. I will like never forget this book. I'm definitely gonna go and buy myself a hardback because it was that good. But I really wish it was a bit longer. But I think, each book is maybe if it was longer, maybe it would have been, bad or horrible or too detailed or whatever. But really, it's seriously perfect this way. I loved it. I think it was it really blew me away because I wasn't expecting anything. I wasn't expecting it to be wow or anything, or I was just expecting it to be a fun, chill contemporary. But like I told you, I love these books that teach you something behind them. And this book was definitely one of those books, and it talked about bullying. So again, another book that teenagers should really look forward to reading too. And the next book is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is definitely one of my top favorites, and I've probably been talking about it for like a really long time, and everyone probably knows it's one of my favorites because this book is like a fantasy book, and it really, like, I'm not that into fantasy. I haven't really read any fantasy books. Like, I never read fantasy books, but this one was just so awesome. Like, I don't even know how Leigh Bardugo imagined such a world or such weird things because I was like, wow. And really, this was also an amazing book as well. And I'm so glad that I have an arc for Siege and Storm, which is the second book, because I cannot wait to read this one. And really, it's amazing. If you haven't read it, you should, because it's also blurred by Veronica Roth, who's the author of Divergent. So yeah, awesome book. The next book is The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. This is actually also the first book I read by Julie Kagawa. I haven't read her Iron Face series, but this one was amazing as well. The best thing about it is because it talks about vampires, and we're probably all sick of vampires and all that, but the twist is that it talks about vampires in a dystopian world. So it's like paranormal dystopian mixed up together, and it was like awesome. Everything was in it. There was the romance, there was the dystopian, there was the world building, there was the killing, there was the fighting, there was the vampires, there was the blood sucking, there was everything. It was like one big chunk of amazingness, and really it was like about 500 or 450 pages, and it was like, I felt like it was like 100 pages. It was that fast, it was that amazing, it was that addicting, and oh my god, I really cannot wait for the second book. But I am disappointed in the covers because they changed them, because this cover was like one of my favorite covers. I loved how simple, yeah, I love the blood that's like going down, oopsie, from her eye and everything. It was like, it's pretty cool, but then they had to change the covers, and now they're pretty boring. They're just like writing with no picture or anything, but that's life. The last book, which is a book that was published in 2009, I think, but I read it in 2012, and this is probably the only book that was published before. All the rest were published in 2012, and it's Wintergirls by Laurie Halse Anderson. Now, this is one of the books that I will never forget. It broke my heart, and nothing really breaks my heart. I read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and okay, I didn't even shed a tear. I read Stolen by Lucy Christopher, and didn't really shed a tear either. I've read a lot of books that people said that they cried so much, and I don't know what, but seriously, I never cry in books. Okay, I feel it, but I never actually cry. I didn't cry in this one either, but it was just so heartbreaking. Like, my heart felt like there was like pain inside, and that never happens. It was, ooh, I'm getting goosebumps just remembering how it made me feel. But seriously, like, if you guys did not read this book, and again, this is probably why, like, this is why I love books that have a realistic twist to it, because this girl was suffering from anorexia, and it's just amazing, because to know that there are people out there suffering that way, and, you know, to get inside their mind and to read their feelings, it breaks my heart so much. And it's just breathtaking. I love this book, and you should totally read it. And also, again, another book that I should recommend to all teenagers out there. Really a good one. So, and that's it. That's like the end of my best books of 2012. 2013 is coming up. Definitely is going to be a great reading year as well. I'm looking forward to a lot of books, many of the sequels from these books as well. And hopefully, I will see you in 2013 with a Help Me Choose video, because I'm gonna be telling you what books I read and which ones got voted the most in the last video, and take another video as well. Alright, bye guys, have a great day!